I'm really excited for our guest today, Julie Potiker. She is a mindfulness expert with extensive teacher training in a variety of tools and methods, including mindful self-compassion. Through her Mindful Methods for Life program offerings and her book, Life Falls Apart, But You Don't Have to, Mindful Methods for Staying Calm in the Midst of Chaos, Julie helps others bring more peace and wellness into their lives. So Julie, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to have you. I will now pass the mic over to you.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. So this is a class that's on stress reduction. And mindful self-compassion has an entire toolbox that's helpful for when you feel stressed. So it's not all about meditation specifically. It's about meditation. It's about taking in positive mental states. It's about soothing touch. So this is going to be experiential, and I'm going to just run you through a lot of this stuff. So the first thing that we're going to do together is soothing touch. We're going to do it together, and then I'll explain how it's going to be so helpful to you in your day-to-day life. So place one hand on your chest and really take a moment just to feel the warmth of your hand on your chest. And now place the second hand on your chest. And if you feel like you need a little bit more support, the bottom hand can be a fist and the top one can be holding it. Now place both your hands on your belly. You can't see my hands right now, sorry, but they're on my tummy. Now cradle your face with your hands. You can almost imagine like a grandparent doing that. My body normally rocks when I do that for some crazy reason. Now give yourself like a nice bicep hug, like a squeeze actually. Now one hand in the other down in your lap. This is the stealth soothing touch that you'll use a lot in the workplace. And then you can just place your hands on your thighs and just kind of give a firm rub from your thighs to your knees. Okay, so what the brain science is behind these actions of soothing and supportive touch is it releases oxytocin, not even just humans, but in the primate world. The parent picks up the infant. There's a gentle vocalization like, oh, and a holding. When that happens, oxytocin and endorphins get released in the parent and in the child. What science has validated in the last 10 years is that we can do that for ourselves. So that when you feel anger coming up, or anxiety coming up, or any emotion coming up, which we'll learn how to discern because that's the mindfulness piece, and you place your hands where you find it soothing, which will be different for each of you. Mine happens to be my heart, but that's not 100% of all people. Some people it's really their belly, some people it's really their face. When you do that, immediately you downregulate your stress hormone. So before you even try to name the emotion or use a tool, go to soothing touch right away. And if you're at work, you want your soothing touch to be something that your colleagues won't necessarily recognize because you don't want them to see that they've pushed your buttons necessarily in the workplace, especially in a workplace like yours where, you know, it's dominated by men. You know, you want your soothing touch place. You don't want, it's like, you don't want the guys to think you're having a heart attack every time you're annoyed, you know, with your hands on your chest. So it'll probably be hand in hand for you guys, or you're crossing your arms, but you're actually holding onto your biceps. Okay, so that is your first mindful method that is really stealth and brilliant. So I have an acronym called SNAP. And if you think about any time that you're activated in any way, frustrated, angry, scared, and you just think about snapping your fingers, the S is soothing touch. And by the way, I'll send all these resources out to you, so you don't need to furiously take notes. You'll get all this from me. And it's also on my website, and so have no fear. Just take this in as a student. I mean, if it helps you to take notes, fine, but you'll get all this resource material. So the S in SNAP is soothing touch. The N is name the emotion. Because when you name the emotion, oh, that's fear coming up. Oh, that's anxiety coming up. You calm down your nervous system even further. It's the amygdala. Dan Siegel does the brain like a fist, and the amygdala is this inside older piece of your brain. It's the amygdala that reacts right away. So just naming the emotion, that's anger, that's anxiety, that's fear, calms that down and gives enough time for the prefrontal cortex to come online, and that's where you're going to be able to make a more skillful response instead of just like a blurting out a gut reaction, which is human to do, but it's helpful to slow the whole thing down. So S is soothing touch, N is name the emotion, A is act. So this is your mindful methods toolbox. What are you going to do to pull yourself together? And that's where breath work comes in, grounding yourself a million different ways comes in. Here's a little writing exercise we're going to do, because it's going to show you what your favorite tools are. So let's take a few minutes and free associate with your pen and paper all the things that bring you joy. So I'll be quiet and write down all the things that bring you joy. Things from a soft pillow to having a cup of tea to calling a friend to dancing, listening to music, all the things that you can think of, planning a trip. Okay, so you've probably by this time got a pretty decent list going. And some of these things, and you can complete the list later, and you can put this list in different places. You can have it in your office on your desk. You can have it in your car. You can have it at home. Some of these things you'll be able to do right away, and some of the things you won't. So you'll be able to pick and choose these things that make you happy, because these things change the channel for you. There's a couple things that you can do right away on the spot that deal with breath work. So if you exhale longer than you inhale, you will lower your heart rate and your blood pressure. So let's breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 6 together 3 times. Hold it at the top for a sec and then 2 more. Hold it at the top. One more time. Hold it at the top. So just 3 conscious breaths is something that you can do on the spot wherever you are after you've named the emotion to calm down. You might be able to hit some of your other items on your what brings you joy list if you can close your office door if you have one, or if you can go into the ladies' room and close the door. Some of those things you might be able to do. But it's really helpful to have a joy list, because when you're aggravated, you're not thinking, what would help me? So the mindful self-compassion question is always, what do I need right now? That's the most self-compassionate thing you can do to answer for yourself, is what do I need right now? What would really help me? Because actually I'm suffering. This feels terrible. Oh, let me look at my joy list and do one of those things. And this dovetails completely with experience-dependent neuroplasticity training, which I know is a big mouthful, but what it boils down to is taking in a positive mental state or creating one, and then letting it land long enough to push the state to a trait. So I think about it like making hack bridges in your brain. So if you're looking at a sunset and you say, wow, that's a beautiful sunset, what's for dinner? No, it's, wow, look at the colors. That is a beautiful sunset. And you take just maybe 12 seconds to contemplate the grandeur and awe of nature. What fires together wires together. You've actually created a new neural network in your brain. And the more happy neural networks that you create, you prune out the negative. So my mentor, Rick Hansen, who wrote Buddha's Brain, Hardwiring Happiness, Resilient, Neurodharma, explains that we have a negativity bias. Negative material sticks in our brain like Velcro, and positive stuff falls off like Teflon. So we need to take in the positive stuff long enough, 12, 13, 14 seconds, to have it wire a happy connection. And that pushes the positive mood, which is a positive mental state, into a neural trait. And tons of scientific research has shown that where your attention goes, energy flows and neural networks grow. And now they know that it prunes out the negative, so that when your mind's just wandering, you're not engaged in a task, it can be kind of a negative place. The more you take in positive mental states and push them to neural traits, your actual brain, wandering mind, will be a happier place. I mean, that's kind of epically awesome, I think.
How did you come to this world? How did you come to learning all this science and then wanting to share that with everyone else?
So that's a good question. I'll try to give you the executive summary of this. I am a recovering attorney, so I'm a little bit of a nerd. And when my kids were growing up, I was doing just a lot of nonprofit work. I had already stopped practicing law, and all 3 of my kids had learning differences. They all have ADHD. So school was just such a pain in the butt. And around the time that my identical twins hit junior high, I was a nervous wreck. Their brother's 4 years older. So I had 3 teenagers, and I thought that I might be having a brain, a brain event, a brain tumor, a brain something, because the wrong word was coming out of my mouth pretty consistently. I was so tightly wound and so nervous. And I went to a neurologist, and he did the complete battery of scans. And then they do like an interview to see what your life is like. And when I shared with him what my life was like, I was the only daughter with boots on the ground for my parents that were aging, and my mom was having some health issues, and I had these 3 teenagers, and they weren't easy, and identical twin girls. Like, that's ridiculous to begin with. If any of you guys have twins, I feel your pain. So, oh my God. So you know what I'm saying. So, well, maybe yours were easy, but mine were not easy. So yours neither, Cheryl? Okay. So this guy said to me, actually, you're stressed out to the extent that your brain's not functioning the way it's supposed to because of your stress. And so he recommended mindfulness-based stress reduction. He's like, have you ever heard of MBSR? I said, no. Have you ever heard of Jon Kabat-Zinn? I said, no. Like, Jon Kabat-Zinn, I feel like he's like my uncle now. You know what I mean? But this was 11 years ago. And so I took MBSR. It was created by Jon Kabat-Zinn at University of Massachusetts Hospital in 1979, the year I graduated high school. It's that old of a curriculum. It's an 8-week class. It's taught all over the world. And I took the class, and I thought, there's something to this. Well, duh, of course there is. And then I took the compassionate brain, and then I took the brain, and then I found Rick Hanson, and I was like, this guy's so freaking brilliant. I am going to stalk him until he becomes my mentor. And I did. I went to a 10-day retreat on mindfulness and science that he was the lead teacher, and every single day for 10 days, I wrote a little question on the board so that I could meet him in a conference room, so that I could have one-on-one with him, because it was a silent retreat. And the guy's been my mentor. And Mindful Self-Compassion was created in the interim of all this by 2 professors, one from Harvard and one from Texas. I took that class, so it was like MBSR warmed up with compassion training, which is mindfulness, self-kindness, and common humanity, those 3 pillars. And then they advertised a teacher training for that class in 2014. They were going to train people. It was an idea that they had. So I was in the first 52 people to get trained to teach mindful self-compassion from Chris Germer and Kristen Neff, who are like hugely famous, wonderful, brilliant people. And it was 50 therapists, me, a recovering lawyer, not a therapist, and a physical therapist. And so I started teaching that class, which is an 8-week class, kind of built on the MBSR platform. I started teaching that class in 2014, and I'm still teaching that class, and I'm certified to teach it, but I morphed it to make it shorter and to put Rick Hanson's work in session 1 instead of mentioning it in session 8, and to add the joy of happiness stuff. I kind of did a mishmash because, well, I guess because I can, because I have chutzpah, and I'm smart enough to figure out that everybody's stuff, if you combine it, you get like the hit parade of brain health. And I'm not new age. I'm not that groovy because of the being the lawyer thing. So I'm like not into like the oils, the crystals. And I think that's all beautiful people are into it, but I'm into the science. So everything I teach is evidence-based. And I actually read the studies, which are excruciating. So that's a long answer to a short question, but that's how I ended up where I am. Yeah, well, you know, life is not easy. It's complicated and we're messy, right? So being able to figure out how to manage our messiness with the least suffering and the most ease is the name of the game for me, right? And teaching people how to do it. And it seems to me that I'm mostly teaching women. Like my book is really geared to women, and a lot of it is geared to moms, and that's because I had such difficult parenting, you know, so it's authentic sharing. This is how I handled that, you know, and I have one kid that has mental health and addiction issues, which I don't wish on my worst enemy, but it also opens me up to being able to be helpful and relate to an entire population of people that wish that they didn't have to know about that, but that they do. So, all right. So meditation comes in many, 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 many forms. So some people say, I can't meditate because I can't blank my mind out. You're not supposed to blank your mind out. That's a myth. So meditation is just focusing your awareness on the prompt. When you realize your radio channel or 5 radio channels started going again, I need to pick up orange juice. Oh my God, I left stuff in the laundry machine. I've got to have that on my boss's desk at 5 o'clock. When you realize that's happening again, and then you bring your attention back to the prompt of the meditation, that's the sweet spot of the brain training, okay? And meditation, the list of health benefits is like longer than my 2 arms. Your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down. If you have depression like I did or anxiety, it decreases. Well-being, of course, if those are decreasing, well-being increases. Inflammation decreases for people who meditate, which is miraculous. People that have like psoriasis, that decreases. Chronic pain, it decreases. Actual telomere length, which is like we get older, the ends of our DNA chromosomes start fraying. People that meditate keep their telomere length. So it actually helps you stay younger. Gray matter increases in your brain when you meditate. It's the kind of list that's like so crazy that it's not a pharmaceutical, that you just have to make yourself do it. You know, it's like the gratitude practice that I'm going to tell you about. The list is so insanely beneficial that you just have to make yourself do it. So the easiest way to meditate, if you guys aren't meditators, is to download an app like the Insight Timer app. It's free. And decide how long you want to meditate. And so we'll do a 5-minute meditation, but I'm here to tell you that I would like for you to do a 12-minute meditation for your brain health. But I don't want you guys to feel really uncomfortable, like, what am I doing? So we'll do a short one when I start it. The Insight Timer app, you can even look up my name on there, and you'll see probably 20 or 30 meditations. Or you could just go to my free podcast, which has like 75 meditations on it probably by now. And they each have a poem, and you just follow my voice. And every time your mind wanders, come back to what I'm talking about. And that's, you can't be a bad meditator. There's no such thing as bad. Okay? And then you get all those benefits. But science has shown 12 minutes is kind of the sweet spot for the brain benefits. Okay? But 5 minutes is better than not doing it. And actually 1 minute is better than not doing it. So when you're on Insight Timer, you'll see like 0 to 5 minutes, 5 to 9 minutes, 10 to 14 minutes. Just pick one and pick like what your problem that day is. Is it for anxiety? Is it for sleep? Is it for whatever? All right. And then when we get into meditating, I just want to say I would prefer, if you're going to pick a meditation, that it has something to do with loving kindness, or compassion, which is loving kindness, or metta, which is loving kindness, METTA. The reason I say that is because studies have shown that people that practice loving kindness meditation are more altruistic. So there's another one of those crazy lists of benefits of that specific guided meditation. And I have a link, send. I told Stephanie and Emily I'll send it afterwards, and they'll send it out. And it'll be like 18 Reasons Kindness meditation from one of my favorite scientists. So you'll get that. So let's try right now a little 5-minute or 6-minute loving kindness meditation. I'll just do a simple one. Okay? So let's find a comfortable position. And if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, close your eyes. And if you don't feel comfortable, some people that have experienced trauma just don't like closing their eyes, and 90% of the people in the world have experienced trauma. So most people have experienced trauma. So if you just have a gentle downward gaze to eliminate distractions, that's fine too. And then we're going to take 3 relaxing breaths, in for 4 and out for 6. Now relax your eyebrows and relax your eyelids. If they're closed, let them be really soft and comfortable. Relax your jaws. We pick up a lot of tension in our face during the day. Release your jaw. And then when you close your mouth, allow your teeth to remain parted. And you can imagine a slight smile, the outside corners of your lips. And then dropping that smile down into your throat, into your neck. Softening, soothing, dropping down into your heart center. Taking a couple beats there to see if you feel your heart beating or anything vibrating. Dropping down your awareness into your belly and letting your abdominal muscles relax. And then releasing your hips into what is supporting you. Let your thighs relax and your knees, your calves and your feet. And if your feet are on the floor, feel the bottom of your feet rooting down into the ground. And then bring your awareness up to your shoulders and let relaxation flow down both your arms, down to the ends of your fingertips, and then soften your hands. See if you can feel your hands from the inside out. And then you may want to place a hand or hand where you find it soothing, like soothing touch that we did at the beginning of the hour. Could be on your heart or your belly, cradling your face, hugging your arms, but wherever, just as a reminder that you're giving yourself this awesome care right now. So healthy. And then you could relax your hands in your lap. And rest your awareness on your breath, seeing and your body breathing in, body breathing out. You might notice it at the tip of your nose, or your chest or your belly, but one of these places you're going to see and feel your body breathing in and breathing out. Now I'd like you to choose a word. It'll help quiet the chatter in your mind even more, but a word that you'd like to take into yourself today, a gift for you, like whispering in your own ear. It could be love or light or ease or harmony or hope or healing or balance or peace. But just breathing in a word on your in-breath and letting your out-breath just be. Now on your out breath, you can gift a word to somebody in your life that you know is suffering and could use a word, or to the planet at large. Just try not to get in a story. Just choose a word. It can even be the same word, peace in, peace out. But you're breathing in, one for me, and breathing out, one for you. Your mind is wandered, coming back to the breath and the gift of a word on the out breath. Now letting go of the words and staying in the meditation and just seeing if any thoughts or feelings or emotions come up and noticing them and seeing if you can look at them in the big eye of your mind. Just a couple moments of open. And then taking in the words of this poem, Allow, by Dana Falls. There's no controlling life. Try corralling, containing a tornado. Dam a stream and it will create a new channel. Resist and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in, the wild with the and success. When loss rips off the doors of the heart or sadness fails your vision with despair, practice becomes simply bearing the truth. In the choice to let go of your known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new eyes. Dana Falls, from her book, Go In and In. And when you hear the sound of the chimes, listening till you hear all the way till the end, and then gently coming back into the room. One more chime. Okay, so that was 7 minutes. Right, and on my podcast, they're about 17 minutes to 18 minutes. So if you think you're interested in trying that, I highly recommend it. Was it hard to breathe a word in and breathe a word out, or did that help calm the chatter? For me, it helps calm the chatter when I have a word in addition to the breath. Sometimes I'll be walking like down the hall into a meeting and I'll just be breathing peace in, peace out, peace in, peace out. Thich Nhat Hanh, who's like one of the most unbelievable teachers and gurus, he was like, I think, peace in and ease out. And then there's traditional loving kindness phrases. May you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you live with ease. And you call to mind somebody that naturally brings you joy. So it's sometimes people use their pets or their best friend or their grandkids, oftentimes not their kids, because you want it to be a relationship that doesn't have a lot of baggage. Even if you have the most wonderful kids in the world, it's still complicated, right? So, so you call to mind this individual and you really see them in your mind's eye. And then you say those phrases, and then you slip yourself in, may we be safe, may we be happy, may we live with these. And then you open it up to like friends and family, to neighbors, to continents, to the planet. And that's a really fun, traditional loving kindness meditation, which I couldn't lead in 5 minutes. There's so much talking, it takes longer. But a lot of them on my podcast are the traditional loving kindness meditation, and also some fantastic poetry. Okay, so I want to talk more about grounding yourself like we did with the breath. You can ground yourself at work through the soles of your feet by just dropping your awareness down to the bottom of your feet under your desk or walking the hall or whatever. It breaks the discursive loop of worrying and ruminating by dropping your awareness to the soles of your feet. You can also, let's see if you can see this. This is just a stone. Like you can get these at any garden center. If you have a polished rock, I give them in my class, and people pick them. And we call them here and now stones, because if you're rubbing this thing and you're noticing the temperature of it and that it's got some ridges and you're looking at the color and you're wondering, how the heck old is this? Is this 1 billion years old? And where did it really come from? What happens is you're breaking the discursive loop of worrying and ruminating. And the reason that we worry and ruminate is because we're primates. So we're wired to worry and ruminate. So it's not your fault. Cut yourself slack right away on that one. If you're a worrier and a ruminator, that's how we stayed alive through these millennia. But now we don't have to worry about like a saber-toothed tiger chasing us. So we worry and ruminate on the garden variety crap that fills up our life, and it causes cortisol and adrenaline, which is deleterious to our health. So all of these things that I'm teaching is to counteract the worrying and ruminating and to bring you into the present right here, right now. Soles of the feet, the breathing, the stone, and then the stuff on your joy list. Because when you're doing something from your joy list and really enjoying it, that's mindfulness, because you're not worrying and you're not ruminating. So the whole name of the game with mindfulness is paying attention to what you're doing when you're doing it without judgment. Like that's the definition everybody uses. So we have a mindful self-compassion teachers forum on one of these. It's called Mighty Networks. It's one of these networks that's not Facebook. And we created a playlist after doing like a heavy duty unit on forgiveness for a month. We created a Shake It Out, Boogie It Out playlist. And so everybody just threw the songs they loved to boogie out to on Spotify. And then we co-created this super fun thing. So you guys could do that. And that could be something that brings you joy. And so music can be an unbelievable mindfulness activity. Gratitude practice. I have to tell you, it's another one of those things like meditating. If you don't like to journal, it's no big deal because I don't like to journal, but I make myself answer 2 questions each night. What did I enjoy today? What am I grateful for today? And it could be one word, sailing. Sailing. I'm a sailor. Right now I'm in La Paz. I just sailed 1,000 miles from San Diego to La Paz, Mexico, with a crew of 7. And I didn't throw up once. So like in my gratitude journal, it could be sailing, sailing. But if you guys like to journal, which I never have, you could write a whole paragraph. And then the cool thing about that is you get 2 bangs for your buck when you feel like crap and you pick something from your joy list and you do it and you lean into it and you create a happy bridge and then you write about it and then you re-enrich and absorb it because you're writing about it. You're creating like 3 happy bridges from that one activity. So I'm all about creating the most bang for your buck. So you have to keep a gratitude practice. You're going to meditate. You're going to keep a gratitude journal. Maybe get a here and now stone because it's fun for your desk, for your purse. The website is excellent. It's got a free library in it, and the podcast is free with all the meditations. Oh, and you know what? Like mindful cooking, mindful eating, like any time in the day that you can drop into paying attention to what you're doing when you're doing it actually adds up to brain health as if you were sitting on a meditation cushion. So drop in when you're cooking, when you're walking. When I have my morning coffee, the first maybe 2, 3, 4 seconds, not minutes. I'm not like Wonder Woman, but the first few sips are mindful. I feel the mug in my hand, it's warm. I look at the color. I'm trying to get all the senses in here, right? I smell, it's cinnamon. I love cinnamon. And then I take a sip and I hold it in my mouth and then I swallow and then I feel how it feels in my body. That's like a mindful couple moments, and all those things add up. And that's just become a habit. It's really nice in the morning to take a moment and do that. So that's, Kristin Neff has so much research on her website because she's a researcher. She's the one that came up with the definition of self-compassion and the self-compassion scale and quiz and everything. Just like Brene Brown did that for shame, Kristin Neff did that for self-compassion.
I just wanted to say thank you, Julie, for coming to this session today. I think everyone found this really beneficial and a lot of great info. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.